All right, so we're turning our attention now to cricket on the SportsMax Zone. Barbados Royals are the first team to confirm a spot in the final of the 2024 Women's Caribbean Premier League after beating Ghana Amazon Warriors by 17 runs at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Turuba, Trinidad and Tobago on Monday night. The Royals first posted 101 for 8 off their 20 overs, despite losing captain Hayley Matthews for just 2 in the 5th over. Kiana Joseph top scored with 19 and was supported by Aliyah Alain with 18. Erin Burns was the best Amazon Warriors bowler with 3 for 31. Well, Hayley Matthews, she made up for her batting failure by taking 4 for 14 to help restrict the Warriors to 84 for 9 and lead the Royals into the championship match with one preliminary game to play. Let's now hear from both captains.
Well, I thought we did a pretty good job in the first innings. I think we were fairly happy going in at the interval. But that run chase just sort of got away from us quite quickly. I think as the pressure sort of built, conditions were really difficult in the second innings. We saw a big turn. And yeah, just got too far behind the rate. I thought we had glimmers of really positive stuff, but we just couldn't really build a partnership that was, game-changing and worthwhile.
Yeah, I think the same way. We want to go out there and we want to play hard, competitive cricket, and we want to go into the finals in winning ways with our confidence high. I think hopefully it's a chance for us to see some of the other young girls. We got the chance to see Janaba Joseph today, who had a great 4 or 5 balls and added on to that score in the end, but it gives us a really good opportunity just to see another few of the younger girls and let them have a runabout at such an amazing tournament like this one.
Well, the Royals, they are a perfect 3 from 3 to sit at the top of the table with 6 points, while despite suffering a loss on Monday, the Warriors, they remain second, tied on 2 points with the Trinbago Knight Riders, as they have a superior net run rate. So team, last night's match as well, very, very exciting. I have to say personally, I was disappointed with the Ghana Amazon Warriors. Their bowlers were brilliant, able to restrict the Barbados Royals to a fairly good score. I'd say the score was so easy to get initially, I thought. And then, of course, Ghana Amazon Warriors, their batting problems continue to show. They went out there to defend that score, and Ricardo, they were unable to do so.
Yeah, tough. Again, the batting just hasn't been good. And it's not just the Ghana Amazon Warriors. It's right across the 3 teams in the tournament. There are very few players who have handled the conditions well, who have been able to consistently find the boundary, who have been able to consistently rotate strike. Of course, Hayley Matthews is one of those, and she didn't even get off last night. We saw Deandra Dottin with a half-century for TKR in the previous game. Erin Burns has had a couple of good knocks as well for the Ghana Amazon Warriors, but especially because the Amazon Warriors don't have Stefani Taylor in their lineup. And once they lost those early wickets, it became significantly more difficult for them. And just throughout the innings, it was just an inability to get the ball off the square, an inability to rotate strike. And the Barbados Royals just crippled the batting lineup. And it wasn't even about taking wickets necessarily. They just created pressure and made it extremely difficult for the Ghana Amazon Warriors to score. And the captain Matthews, she was brilliant with the ball. She is a class apart from most, if not all, of the players in this tournament. With both bat and ball and her ability in the field, she's an absolute class act. And yeah, but you have to have concerns about the batting. I think these are pretty good pitches, Lance and Mariah. I don't think it's an issue of the surfaces that they're playing on. I just think the batting quality is not there. And the bowling has been pretty good in my estimation.
Yeah, and we discussed already that the fielding has been pretty suspect as well. And I want to point out and just emphasize the point that you made earlier on about the impact of Hayley Matthews on the Barbados Royals team. So last night, even though she didn't make many runs, she was able to come back with the ball along with Kiana Joseph and get the job done. So even while the batting for all of the teams struggles, the fact is that a player like Hayley Matthews can be a match winner for her team. Barbados Royals undefeated in their 3 matches so far, due in no small measure to Hayley's input and performance so far in the tournament. But I would just express some concern about the domestic players in the women's CPL at the moment, because most of the standout performers are overseas players. And
then just the regular ones that we're accustomed to.
Yeah, and if we think about the October T20 World Cup coming up, there has to be some concern about the form and the quality being displayed by the West Indies players.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Lance and Ricardo, I was thinking that is just the regular suspects that have been coming to the party. Happy to see Dottin back in form because we know how she can be. And the thing is, we didn't even see her bowl as much. I was looking at the last match she played. She didn't bowl at all. So for me, that's another cause of concern, but that's a topic for another day. The usual suspects are coming to the party, but I'm not seeing consistent performances from the youngsters that I expect. Yes, young Nia Lochman, she had a good feat with the ball, but still, I want to see the all-round performance that we get from like a Hayley Matthews coming from the youngsters, and I feel like I did not see that just yet. Kiana Joseph yesterday was beautiful out in the park. She brought a sort of energy. She was dancing, getting the job done with the ball. So that for me was one glimmer of hope, but still I've not found that youngster that has been lighting up the park.
Yeah, and Mariah, to be honest with you, you won't find that youngster because the truth is, and I've said this before on this show, that the batting quality is just not there. With the exception of Stephanie Taylor, who scored, 38 in the only game that she's played. Hayley Matthews, who as usual has been brilliant. Deandra Dottin showing her class, her quality with that half century in the last game for the TKR. There is no batter, in my estimation, and again, I've said this before, looking at these players, that I can say this is a batter that can consistently produce at this level and at the higher level, which is the international level heading into the T20 World Cup. That is not to say that they are not batters who on their day can give you a good 20 or a good 30, or a Shemaine Campbell who can produce a half century every now and again. But the quality to make the West Indies into a top-level team, the type of team that won the T20 World Cup in 2016, is just not there. And if Stephanie Taylor, Hayley Matthews and Deandra Dottin don't perform to a heroic level, then the West Indies team will struggle for the simple fact that the batting isn't great. You think back even to the T20 World Cup that the West Indies won. It wasn't the batting that won them the World Cup, maybe with the exception of brilliant performances in the semi-final and the final. For most of the tournament, the batting was ordinary. It was the bowling that brought them to that title, in my estimation, and nothing has changed.
Yeah, and to be fair, without the Hayley Matthews knock in the final, they probably wouldn't have won.
And Stephanie Taylor, who was brilliant in the final as well. But that's the point, Lance and Mariah. It's Stephanie, it's Deandra Dottin,
And it's Hayley.
It's Hayley Matthews. It's been those three for a long time, and it continues to be those three. You made the point that the last regional tournament, well, not the last regional tournament, it was the Leeward Islands tournament, I think it was, where a 40-year-old was the leading scorer.
Oh, the Windwards.
The Windwards tournament, yes, where a 40-year-old was the leading scorer.
Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know about where the women's game is at as far as batting is concerned. I've said this already, I'll say it again. This is not a problem that is going to be fixed overnight. I'm not even sure that this problem is going to be fixed in my lifetime or your lifetime. But you have to start from the grassroots, because batting is the most difficult skill to master in cricket. You can learn to field, you can learn to bowl in a short space of time, but batting is something that you have to live. In my estimation, it is something that you have to start from very early. You don't get up and become a quality batter overnight. And that's why I'm concerned, because I don't see this changing anytime soon.
Yeah, well, tonight we get to see TKR up against the Barbados Royals. Do you all think they can win? And how's the weather back in Trinidad? Have you been checking?
Well, the West Indies and South Africa are currently locked in battle. That match reduced to 13 overs per side. So hopefully
13?
Yes.
Okay,
hopefully
so it's happening.
we've seen all the rain and the match will go off. But once again, I expect the bowlers to dominate, Mariah and Lance.
So the Barbados bowlers. or just the bowlers on the whole?
Well, I hope the Royals win because that means that the Guyana Amazon Warriors will be in the final. And I did say that they would win. Now, when I said that, I fully expected Stephanie Taylor
To be playing.
Yes.
And of course, when she did play that opening game, they lost by what? Only
One run.
One run.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And she got 38. I really do believe had she been involved last night chasing
Correct.
102, it would have been a different match. But hey,
We'll take the net run rate.
yeah.
What say you, Lance?
By the way, I would also, especially in the absence of Stephanie Taylor, and I do understand what the Guyana Amazon Warriors are trying to do by having some firepower at the back end, but I would open with Natasha McLean. I
She
think,
started by opening, right? Did
yeah. And to me, she's an opening batter, and she can be so destructive in that power play that you want to utilize her there. She has power. She can clear the infield much better than a lot of the other batters. And so I would try and get a good start with Natasha McLean at the top. That's the way I like to see the cricket played, on the front foot. And to me, having Natasha McLean at 5 or 6 is more of a defensive option, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, I'm guessing that's your plan for the final because you're going with Barbados winning tonight.
Me? I'm not coaching.
No, but you sound like you're giving some coaching advice here to Courtney Walsh. Well, we know you're going with TKR, so we're going to wrap up.
I must admit that the TKR's performances so far in the tournament would not be giving me confidence going into this match against the Barbados Royals tonight. I know they have the ability to beat the Barbados Royals on their best performances, but we haven't seen that, so I really don't know what to expect.
feel
But
like
you know what they have?
What?
They have a superwoman. And
I'm
when you have a
dotting.
super player,
Yes.
anything can
Well,
happen.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm not giving up hope. I'm just saying on the evidence of what I've seen so far, it's hard to be confident that TKR would beat Barbados Royals tonight.
But
not that
on-
it can't happen, but I wouldn't bet on it.
But on the evidence of your jacket, it looks a little Barbados Royalish.
This is by coincidence.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break. I might be back with Zone Update too. Who knows?